Today, we're going to be rebuilding Barcelona using the perfect 4-1-2-1-2 inside of FM23. If you do enjoy the rebuilds on this channel, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription on the channel, and also leave a comment right now on the next team you wish to see being rebuilt. But let's get into the first season with Barcelona. So the first season with Barcelona is a bit of an interesting one, as you have no money to spend, so therefore there's going to be no players coming in. We did lose some players, but not all of them were lost right at the start, so we have simulated the first season. We're going to go over the results first, then go over the players that we've lost during this season, because you do have to sort of sell some players to even be able to afford to offer players new contracts. One of the issue with Barcelona at the moment are their contracts, are the finances. They're absolutely in the mud. And our challenge over the next 5 years is to sort of see where we can take them in that aspect while still remaining competitive and bringing trophies back to Spain with this fantastic, historic club. But going over to the homepage, we are going to be seeing a very good first season where we should hopefully receive some money, as we do in the Champions League against Real Madrid. We in the Spanish division and also the Spanish Cup against Villarreal. We scored 121 league goals and only conceded 23. Did pick up a fair few red cards, so possibly a little bit of a discipline issue, which we are going to keep a close eye on. But in terms of the actual league, we done really, really well, guys. 106 points, Real Madrid coming in with 91. Not really much competition at all. And going over the team stats, we are going to be looking, and it is incredibly dominant. I always like to show you a little bit about this because my sort of rebuilds are combined with tactics as well. This is what this tactic can do, guys. It's really, really impressive. And when you see the players we lost as well, it makes it even more impressive. Most points per game at 2.79, most goals at 121, fewer shots at 262, most shots at over 800. Possession, definitely not in our favour, so definitely not a possession tactic. Dribbles made at 986. Fewest conceded at 23, and the most clean sheets, I believe we're tied with Real Madrid at 20. So a really, really impressive season. And going over to the data hub, you're looking at over 3 goals a game, over 21 shots a game, conceded really impressive as well at 0.61. It is honestly a really, really good tactic, but it wasn't all smiles because we did lose quite a few players, as you can see right now. Obviously, we lost Nelson Semedo to Wolves for £26.5 million. We lost Trincao to Sporting for £27.5 million. We obviously lost Doles to Levante on the free. Obviously, some of these signings were already done. I'm just going over them like they weren't because, you know, it makes the rebuild a little bit more dramatic. And obviously, the main one is going to be Dembele going to PSG, which isn't obviously done, for £32.5 million. So quite a significant loss. He was one of our better wingers. Now, in terms of actually how he is as a player, he's incredibly injury prone. He's actually quite good on this game. He's really, really rapid. His finishing maybe could do with some work. He is 27, I guess, and he did take up quite a bit of wage. So maybe it could be a good thing, maybe a bad thing. Nevertheless, we have lost a very, very decent player. In terms of the finances, even after winning everything we have won, we've got £70 million to spend, which I guess isn't too bad realistically. It's quite a lot of money, but considering the amount of players that we need to be replacing, it's going to be quite a challenge. And also, we've got a lot of players on the books, I imagine. Let's have a look at that right now. So we haven't even gone over the stats, have we? We can see right now who's going to be the main man. Lewandowski, who is going to get a new contract, even at the age of 35, because I think this guy can score goals at 37. 50 in the league, 34 for Ansu Fati, Pedro with 28, 24 for Abde, Ferran Torres coming in with 9 for Rafinha, Araujo coming in with 5. In terms of the assists, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players with over 12 and above. So that passed the sort of assist test, which I love to do because I love to see multiple players getting involved with getting the assists. But the main sort of focus I've got on this squad is looking at some of the contracts, and that is what we're going to do now. So we've got the likes of Hector Bellerin, Sergio Roberto, Marcos Alonso. They're 3 players right there who I could easily want to offload. And I think the issue we're going to have is looking at some of these players. So, for example, Roberto is on quite a chunk of wage. Is anyone else going to pay that? Hector Bellerin is not actually on a lot, to be fair. So maybe we keep him around. He's not awful. Marcos Alonso, 100k a week. I don't really want him on the books anymore. We've got a lot of players in this team that are on quite significant wages, and I feel like it's going to be hard to offload them because they're going to refuse to leave and other clubs simply won't pay it. So I believe that's going to be where the main challenge actually is. So it's going to be quite tough, these transfer windows, and possibly for the first time ever, the transfer windows are going to be harder than the actual seasons. So let's go over to our first transfer window, which technically is the second transfer window because we just couldn't sign anyone in the first, and see who we can offload, and more importantly, see who we can bring in. But I'm going to be honest, guys, it is absolute drama over in Barcelona, as we are going to see 4 more players leave, and that is going to be Samuel Umtiti, who is a player I am thrilled has gone because he was on a load of money, and realistically, it's nothing special. He goes to Zenit for 3.3 million, and we also lose to Stegen, whose contract was also coming up to a closure. He did not want to agree a new contract. He didn't even want me to offer him out to clubs. He simply wanted to leave on the free, so that is why he's gone for such a cheap amount and a painful amount. It feels like he has gone on the free to Chelsea for 5 million. 5 million. That is the max I could get for him because this guy was going to leave on the free anyway. So we cashed out what we could just to get something for him. In terms of the players we brought in, I'm going to be honest. We dipped into the free market in this first season because we're trying to restore the club's finances a little bit. So Anthony Martial comes in from Manchester United. We all know who this guy is. Yes, he's nothing incredible, but we needed a bit of a backup option up front. And realistically, he's not horrific. 15 finishing, 15 acceleration, 16 agility, 16 pace, 16 stamina. Great bit of flair on him. Obviously, good dribbling. He is not awful. He's not the best of the best, I know, but I believe for a backup option, especially on the free, he could be a decent option. In terms of the other player, it's going to be Callum Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea, and this guy I actually I like him a lot, especially on FM. He's 23 years of age. His finishing is his only weakness, really. He's got good dribbling, really quick on the ball, can play on both wings, and on the free, you can't really complain at all. Next up, we have Max Aarons, which I don't think we can disagree at all. It's a really good signing, especially on the free, who is going to replace some of the fullbacks that are going to be leaving very, very shortly. 24 years of age from Norwich, so yes, it's a massive step up, but I do believe he can do it, especially under this management. 14 tackling, great work rate, great determination, great bit of composure on him as well, good acceleration, good pace, good stamina, good fitness, nothing really to hate about the guy, an incredible fullback, and still only 24 years of age. And since ter Stegen did leave, we had to spend big on a keeper, which I believe can do it at this level. And that is going to be Aaron Ramsdale from Arsenal for 65 million, only 26 years of age, and already has some fantastic attributes. And I really feel like this guy can do it on this sort of level of football. And hopefully that's what we can see, because realistically, losing ter Stegen's a bit of a killer. He's a world-class goalkeeper, as Aaron Ramsdale is, but I just hope he can do it over in Spain. So that is going to be the big gamble of the season. In terms of the tactics, so this is going to be the formation we are going to be using. Realistically, it's an absolute ton of fun to play with. The starting 11 is going to remain as Ramsdale, Koundé, Araujo, Christensen, Dest, De Jong, Rafinha, Torres, Pedri, Lewandowski, and Fati up top. The bench consists now of Garcia, Kesse, Abdi, Aarons, Gavi, Martial, Longley, Balde, Hudson-Odoi, Bellerin, Roberto. And yes, I know what you're saying. Why have you got so many high-paid players on the bench? I cannot stress how many of these players I've tried to shift. I simply can't get rid of them just yet. So I'm going to try my best each season to get rid of some of the deadwood, that being obviously the likes of Alonso, Roberto, Bellerin, Longley I don't really like too much, maybe even Kesse, because sometimes he demands ridiculous salaries. So we're going to see exactly who we can offload next season. More importantly, let's get into the second season and see if we can improve on that quite impressive first season. Well, we've not improved, unfortunately. What we have done is maintained that 100% win rate so far of winning the Spanish division, with a 2-point gap between us and Real Madrid. So quite close this season. We also won the Spanish Cup against Real Madrid. We scored 103 goals, conceded 30, and half the amount of red cards we got by 2, only picking up 2. In terms of the actual squad, we are going to be looking at the most goals first of all, and that is going to be Lewandowski again with 46 goals, 21 for Abdi, I believe, Pedri coming in with 17, 11 for Torres, Araujo with 10 as well, Martial with 8, 6 for Gavi, Longley with 5, 5 for Rafinha. So I'm going to be honest, we have got a bit of an issue going on right now. Obviously, Lewandowski is carrying the bulk load of the goals by about 80%. He is absolutely carrying this team on his back, and that's something we don't want to rely on a 36-year-old striker, because we have tops got 2 years left with him. In terms of the assists, still quite good. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 on this occasion, putting up 11 plus assists in the season, being Rafinha with 16, 14 for Lewandowski, Abdi coming in with 12, 12 for De Jong, Gavi with 11, Torres with 11, Fati with 11, even Pedri coming in with 8. So in terms of the assists and getting people involved, we are really, really good. But it's just about getting these goals spread about the team a little bit more, because Lewandowski is carrying it heavily. In terms of the data hub, we are going to look at a staggering 2.71 goals per game. Quite an impressive amount of goals per game, to be fair. Conceded still way under a goal a game as well, which obviously we do love to see. And realistically, it's doing what we sort of want. You know, we're still winning the Spanish league. Obviously, we want to keep changing what we win. We want to win as much as we can. And we are going to watch some of these highlights. So you can see a lot of green coming in. But the game we're focused on is going to be this cup final. It's only a 1-0 win, and it's an 88th minute winner against a very strong Real Madrid team. We've got Trossard in it now, by the way, and Bergwijn, and Heung-min Son. Very interesting. But we do obviously pick up the winner here in the 88th minute. Koundé just driving ridiculously far up. He's going to go over the top all the way into Abdi, who puts a great finish past the keeper in what is obviously a very heated derby. So to win it in the 87th minute more was an absolute statement, to be fair. We rolled out with Ramsdale, Longley, Christiansen, Garcia, Max Aarons, De Jong, Rafinha, Gavi, Pedri, Lewandowski, and obviously Abdi up top. And he had quite a good season, to be fair to him. How was he actually developing? He, not a bad return. 34 games, 21 goals, 12 assists. And do you know what? He's not horrific. He's not the best of the best, but he's definitely worth keeping around. He's a player that can play in all three positions, on the wings, up front. Can't really complain. In terms of the contract situation, we have got a player actually on the free, which is going to be Alex Gallardo, who I am going to be letting go on the free because don't really see a future for him at the club. Lewandowski obviously needs another contract. Kesse, Christie, oh, this is going to be painful. Look at this. I mean, all of these players here need new contracts, and a lot of these players are big boys. Gavi, Longley, Araujo. Some of the salaries, Longley, 95k, a lot less than what I thought, actually. Araujo, 125k a week. Frankie de Jong, 230. He's going to want more money, 100%. Kesse, Lewandowski, they're all going to want more money. It's going to be very hard to keep all of these players happy and at the club. And in terms of the money, okay, possibly we can. We've got 104 million, which is a lot of money for this season, going into this third transfer window. But realistically, looking again at all these players we've got to try and keep on, how much of that money is going to go into actually keeping these players at the club? Because realistically, I want to keep Araujo and Longley. I'm not bothered if we keep or lose them. De Jong I want to keep. Garcia I want to keep because he's actually got potential. Christiansen I want to keep. Kesse I want to keep as long as it's reasonable. And Lewandowski, I'm even tempted to give him just literally a 1 more year deal. He's, you know, I don't like the fact he's carrying, but realistically without him, we would be absolutely nowhere. So we'll have a little think about Lewandowski because obviously he is getting old. He's 36, but he's still scoring over 45 goals a season. So let's get into that third transfer window and see exactly what happens with this Barcelona team. Well, unfortunately, guys, we couldn't get rid of a lot of the players which I previously did mention. One of the players we did get rid of, and he didn't want a new contract, is going to be Longley. From, obviously, us goes to Napoli for £32.5 million, giving us a little bit more money to play with. Nico also goes to Villarreal for 2.6 million. We then have Pradas goes to PSG on the free. Fort and Prim also go to Juventus, both on the free. In terms of the players we brought in, the more important topic, we spent £106 million, pretty much our entire transfer budget. Obviously, we still had the money from Longley, which we didn't spend. The first one is going to be Schraudrup from Benfica for £45 million, just adding a bit of youth to the wing, which is it's a much needed thing, realistically. And this guy can really do that. He's got some fantastic attributes at the age of 21, but as you can see, he can grow really, really well. And just a player which a lot of people sign in FM. I rarely do because I really rarely get the chance. By the time I get the chance to sign him, he's been snapped up by a powerhouse already. Obviously, on this occasion, he was still at Benfica, so we could poach him quite easily. But then also go over and pick up one of my personal favourites, for 15.5 million, Marcus Leonardo. Now, this guy is a very, very, very cheap striker and one which you need to try and sign because he is absolutely fantastic, and I guarantee he'll put up stats in this team. And this is sort of preparing for the departure of Lewandowski next season because realistically, I think this is the last season for Lewandowski. I think we've got to be somewhat realistic and think like that. And this guy can finish shoes. I honestly think he can. He's got good finishing. He's got good composure, quite quick as well, and still only 22 years of age. So a very, very good signing. And to finish it off from Benfica as well, for £45 million, is going to be Antonio Silva. We all know who he is, a fantastic centre-back, elite centre-back at the age of 21, by the way, and still got potential to grow. 16 tackling is the real key thing you sign him for. 16 composure, 16 concentration, not bad vision on him either, and also not the slowest, not the quickest, but not too slow. And I really think these three signings can future-proof this team. team. I mean, we look at them, they're all very, very young players. We've got plenty of time to mold them into this team, and they fit into the team really, really well. And let's just see if we do quick pick, possibly. Is it going to change anything? It's going to change nothing. That's very weird. There we go. Okay, so none of them actually do get in, which it's interesting to see, nevertheless. But realistically, we have got some world-class players stood in this team. You know, we've got Ramsdale, Koundé, Araujo, Garcia, Aarons, De Jong, Rafinha, Torres, Pedri, Lewandowski, and Fati. I guess these players were brought in quite... It all comes down to the role ability, really, is how they get picked. But we look at some of these players on the bench now, and we are really future-proofing ourselves. I mean, the likes of Gavi, Leonardo, even Dest is 24. Hudson-Odoi still only 24. Antonio Silva's 21. Schaudrup's 21. The age is slowly coming down, which is what obviously we want to try and do with this team, because one of the key issues with this Barcelona team is they had so many players that were getting on. No one really young to replace their current team, besides the likes, obviously, Pedri, Gavi, etc., who are their sort of two young talents. But realistically, the main aim for the next sort of couple of seasons, obviously this is a 5-year rebuild, so after this third season, we've got 2 more seasons to perfect this team. We're just going to try and keep reducing the sort of average age of this squad by bringing in young talent, really, and try and mould them to the Spanish league and see how far it can take us. But let's go over to that third season and see exactly how well we've done. I do want to quickly say, though, if you're enjoying today's video, please do leave a like, drop a little subscription on the channel as well, and turn on notifications, because this way you never miss an upload. You get a notification, when I upload a video, when I go live, etc., so be sure to check out the live streams as well. They are going to be exclusively now done on YouTube, so you've got to go nowhere else, all on this channel. But let's go ahead and see how well we've done in this third transfer window. So the third season has been simulated, and we've got a little bit more to cheer about now, as we actually do bring home a treble-winning season, winning the Spanish First Division, the Spanish Cup against Bilbao, and the Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid. We scored 138 league goals and only conceded 20, and in this season only picked up 1 red card. In terms of the league table, it was incredibly dominated by us, 100 points compared to Real Madrid coming in with 82. And just for a little bit of fun, what is Real Madrid's team looking like? They've still got Ancelotti in charge. Their tactics is going to be looking like this. They've got Courtois, Lima at right back, Militao, Rudiger, Mendy, Tuchel, Camavinga, Wijnaldum, Diaz, Koeman, and obviously Jeremy Pino, Fresneda, Nacho, Cruz, Trossard, Bergwijn, Tomiskas, Tielemans, Heung-min Son. It's an Icardi, Endrick, obviously at their club right now. It's a very interesting team, but quite a good team nevertheless. I always like to see how other teams are doing that are close to us. But realistically, forgetting Real Madrid, a very, very good season coming out of us right now. And obviously, you've got to look at the finances. We're going to have a £94 million for the next transfer window. That's the most important thing. We're trying to obviously see how much we've got to spend. But going over to the squad, we are going to be looking at this is really good. So we've got 60 still coming in from Lewandowski. At the age of 37, he is scoring 60 Spanish league goals. Marcus Leonardo comes in his first season and scores 45 goals. 45. I did say this guy can definitely do it, and this is why, because I really do back this guy. In terms of Pedri, 22 goals from him, 15 for Fati, Araujo coming in with 11, and 8 for Silva, and also Schaudrup coming in with 7. And this is what I want. So now it's not just Lewandowski that is being sort of relied on. We're also seeing Leonardo contributing only 15 away from him. So it's now the entire strike force which we can rely on, which I'm fine doing. That's what their job is. Obviously, we've got 2 up top. The majority of the goals should be scored by them. But it's nice to know it's not being done just by one guy now. It's being done by the pair. And that's exactly what we want to be seeing. In terms of the assists, we're seeing a very, very nice pattern here. Gavi with 28, Pedri with 21. Both of the superstar youngsters contributing over 20 assists per season. 20 for Leonardo as well. 18 for Fati, Rafinha with 15. 12 for De Jong. Abde coming in with 11. 9 for Balde. And Lewandowski also with 8. Schaudrup having a fairly average first season. He didn't play a lot of games, really. Averaged about a 7.10 match rating, realistically. Not the best of the best, but it is what it is. Who actually got the best match rating? It's going to be Robert Lewandowski, shortly followed by Leonardo, to be fair. So this guy here is by far the best signing we have made so far. An absolute steal for £15 million. And already his value is skyrocketed. In terms of contracts, though, that is the next important thing. We are going to be looking at Collado, still at the club. No one wants this guy. I'm not offering him a contract, though. It's going to be the same story, I believe. It is obviously going to be Lewandowski, Kesse, Christensen, De Jong, Araujo, Rafinha. These are 2026, which I even might try and get some of these guys tied down. There's a lot of these players down here we don't have to worry about because they have got deals forever. Some of these players right now we need to really try and tie down. The likes of Kesse, De Jong, Christiansen, Rafinha, I'd like to keep because he's contributing no goals but good amount of assists. Koundé, Fati, Torres, Ramsdale. I'm going to try and offer these guys contracts. We've got the money to do so. But more importantly, let's go and watch some of these goals, shall we? So the cup finals is what we usually like to watch from this channel. And we have got one here, a 4-1 win over Bilbao. So let's sit back, get your popcorn out, and let's see what this 4-1 win was like. Here we go then. 4-1. So it is actually going to be Bilbao getting off to the lead, is it? Which makes it even more sweeter if it is, because that means he was offside. He was definitely offside, but it's the Spanish league. Dodgy decisions. We do bounce back though not about 20 minutes after. Fati with a little bit of trickery out on the left-hand side. Into Balde, a great ball in the middle, into Pedri, and it is going to be Leonardo who equalises in the first half. And all of the other 3 goals come from the 65th minute. This is where Bilbao clearly collapsed. As Gavi is out on the right, I wonder if he's playing there now. He possibly could be. Gavi drives all the way through. It's a fantastic ball in the box. And you do not leave Lewandowski a centimetre free because that is what he will do. And he actually tucks away a penalty here as well. Just under Unai Simon, a fantastic goalkeeper as well. If you are looking for one, I would recommend him. As it is going to be Rafinha out on the left, a ball over the top into Schaudrup. This is going to be one of his few goals of the season. It is over the top, a beautiful chip, and a very comfortable 4-1 win. And realistically, the stats, I mean, possession wasn't in our favour. Shots were against a very, very strong Bilbao side. I'm sure there's another game we can watch as well. What was the other cup final we won? It was... Where was it? It was the Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid. That's the one at the start of the season, right? I believe. Super Cup final. A 2-1 win here against Real Madrid. What team were they playing? Courtois, Fresneda, Alaba, Rudiger, Mendy, Tuchel, Valverde, Camavinga. Or these are players that have come off, sorry. Their team's really, really impressive. Nevertheless, it's good to see that we both played full-strength sides because obviously... If we would have, won against a team which wasn't as strong, wouldn't have been as rewarding, but they were playing a very good team, as you can see. Oh, that's shocking from Pedri. And again, it's a game which we do obviously go a goal down. So 2 games we've watched, we both went sort of a goal down. So it's not a good sign, but the good sign is, I guess, that we do always come back and we always win. As Rudiger does a bit of a poor clearance there into Gavi, into Araujo, who cuts it back inside, into De Jong, into Dest, into the middle, into Leonardo. And... play doesn't get much better than that. That is some of the best play bringing it out from the right-hand side into the centre. It was literally about 4 passes, so quickly done. And that is a great set piece. A bit of a scrappy one to win that in the 73rd minute. But we're not going to complain. It was a game which, again, not as much possession, but more shots overall. And a deserved win against a very good Real Madrid side. And we're looking at the schedule right now. And we went through a phase here. We have got to look at this. We went through a phase here of not even drawing or losing a game for quite some time. So this formation, this tactic is really worth giving it a go. And the players we're clearly bringing in are working. But let's go over to this 4th transfer window. And we're going to try and obviously, as the main objective is to try and bring in some more young players. Obviously, possibly bring in some centre-backs, which are a little bit younger as well. Let's go over to that. And to do that, just to remind myself, we've got £94 million to spend. Let's go over to the 4th transfer window. So the 4th transfer window has been done, and Rafinha didn't want a new contract. Lewandowski didn't want a new contract. I can understand with Lewandowski. We sold him to PSG for 2.3 million, and Rafinha goes to Liverpool for 51 million pounds, meaning we had quite a nice budget to play with, hence why we spent 158 million pounds. Bringing in Adeyemi from Dortmund for 85 million. This guy and Leonardo up front are going to be absolutely incredible. And also this guy can play on the wing. It also gives Fati a chance to play on the wing as well. Bringing him, Fati, Leonardo up front is a deadly trio to alterate. And I really think that this is going to be easily a good strike force to not only win the Spanish League, the Spanish Cups, but also now be consistent Champions League winners, as this guy is one of the best players you can pick up. We then go over to Celtic for 19.7 million and bring in Abada. I believe is how you say that. Abada. I always butcher names. And this guy, again, a bargain for that price tag. 4-star ability on the right-hand side. Obviously, we lost Rafinha. I wanted to bring in someone who is... I don't think this guy might be as good necessarily, but can definitely grow into that role. 24 years of age. I say not as good. He's actually quite good, to be fair to the guy. But I was trying to keep the price tag a little bit down because, obviously, we spent big on the likes of Adeyemi and also on the likes of Xavi Simons from PSV. £56 million he sent me back. But realistically, we've now got a team that has got Pedri, Gavi, Xavi Simons as midfielders. 3 of the best young talents in midfield. And this guy, again, can help sort of Pedri in that shadow striker role, a little bit more depth in that area, and can also play a couple of the deeper roles as well. But this guy is just a player which, again, I rarely get to sign. And I just think his attributes already are really, really good. And it's quite worrying to see what this Barcelona team's going to turn into, because we are now building a young powerhouse team filled with absolute bags of talent, and this guy only adds to that. In terms of the actual tactics page, though, we are going to be looking at a slightly different looking team filtered by the best 11, as it is now going to be. I'll make sure it is filtered by the best 11. Little bit of a change. It's going to be Balde coming in. I don't really agree with that. I would probably put Torres back in there, to be fair. It's going to be Ramsdale, Koundé, Araujo, Garcia, Aarons, De Jong, Gavi, Torres, Pedri, Fati, and Marcus Leonardo making up the team. But you look at the bench now, and it is packed with talent. Antonio Silva, Xavi Simons, Ademi. You've still got Abdi. You've got Dest. You've got Hudson-Odoi. You've got the likes of Sheldrup on there. You know, I always butcher that name. I'm gonna call him Liel because I always butcher that. I don't know why. But do you know what? The bench is looking absolutely fantastic. The start on 11 is looking fantastic as well. We've got a couple of players nearly approaching. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 players nearly touching the 5-star ability mark now as well. And I do honestly believe this tactic and this team is good enough to now start winning Champions Leagues and also league titles. So let's go over and actually see what we can achieve with this new look Barcelona team, because I think it's only up from here. Well, I was definitely right about it being up from here, because we have won 4 trophies in one season. We won the Champions League against PSG. We won the Spanish League, making that 4 times on the bounce. We won the Spanish Cup against Real Hispales and a Spanish Super Cup against Bilbao. We scored 133 league goals, ranking us the best, conceded only 25 and picked up 1 red card across the entire season. In terms of the league table, it was utter dominance this year in the year of 2026, as it is going to be 99 points. Real Madrid coming in second place again with 84. In terms of the team stats, we feature in 7 of them, being the most points per game, most goals at 133, most shots at 1 under 800, fewer shots at 250, most dribbles at 1,051, fewest conceded coming in at 25, and the most clean sheets coming in at 23. In terms of the data hub, we are going to be looking at 3.5 goals per game, a conceded at 0.66, just over 21 shots a game, and a pass completion of 82.82%. But the real attraction, what has the squad been up to? Wow. Very, very impressive. The first season with no Lewandowski, Leonardo replaces that with 60 goals. Absolutely incredible from him. 53 for Fati, 30 coming in for Pedri, Ademi with 23, having an okay first season. Then there is a bit of a drop-off, but we have got 4 players here scoring really good amounts of goals, and I am fine with that. As I said, as long as it's not one player doing the bulk load of the work, that's all that matters. Leonardo has come in and instantly replaced Lewandowski's goals. Fati having a really, really good season as well. And in terms of the assists, we've got 37 for Gavi, who I believe was playing on the right-hand side. Fati with 18, 17 for Pedri, Leonardo with 16, 13 for Balde, Frankie de Jong with 11, 9 for Sheldrup, Koundé with 9, 9 for Dest, and Torres coming in with 8. So a really good display from all of the players. In terms of contracts, okay, so we've still got some work to do. These are the players we want to cover, really. We're going to go 1 year at a time. Martial, he was brought in as a backup. He's not really done much, but I wasn't really expecting it. It was more of if we need him, he's there. Injured to be, I mean, with typical Martial, he is 1 day injury. It's not too bad, I suppose. Out of this list here, possibly Martial. I'm going to look to offload if we can get an offer for him. He done his job. He come in. He was there if we needed him. He never really was required. But it is what it is. In another world, we possibly wouldn't have signed him. All of our strikers get injured. We had no striker. It was a signing which was made purely as a security window. But it is what it is. But in terms of the actual schedule, let's go over and have a little look. As there are going to be some... This game is incredibly dramatic. A 5-4 win where Fati scored... We've got to watch this because it looks like it's drama. I mean, PSG went 2-0 up, by the way, with Mbappe and Kai Havertz, obviously the new man at Arsenal. I need to watch this game, though, because it's 5-4. What a Champions League final. That would have been a penalty anyway, as it is going to be Mbappe who makes them go 1-0 up inside of 4 minutes, or 5 minutes technically. And I would have seriously started worrying now, as they do go 2-0 up, actually, in 25 minutes. Hakimi down the left-hand side into was shocking defending, absolutely abysmal defending. And I guess this is where we come back into the game, which I believe if PSG would have scored this goal, the game would have been done. The fact we've come back from this is already impressive. Shocking from PSG into Leonardo, into Ansu Fati, them two linking up very well. So that was 2-1 inside of 40 minutes. I think this deserves a like, guys. This game is probably one of the most dramatic Champions League finals I've ever seen. Great link-up play there between Ansu Fati and De Jong. Fati back inside into Leonardo. We're seeing how these two are linking up now. A dangerous front two, that is to be sure of. PSG do bounce back here as well, though. In the 48th minute, Declan Rice, their team is nuts. Hakimi inside into Musiala. That's 3-2 PSG. That's already 5 goals inside of 48 minutes. We then bounce back literally a couple of minutes after with a great ball through into Dest, into Balde on the left-hand side, into Ansu Fati, who tucks it in to the bottom right corner. Then to PSG bounce back again. This is currently 3-3. I think I've lost count. I believe I've lost count. I reckon we're going to get the goal here. A shocking clearance there into Gavi, back inside into Leonardo, off the post. So at this point, it was 4-3 to us. PSG then must score an equalise, which they do here, in the 65th minute, into Musiala, into, I imagine, Ben White, who just drives all the way through by himself into Kai Havertz, splits apart the back line. I believe this game was just literally an end-to-end masterclass. And then we win it in the 90th minute, which is even more dramatic, as it is going to be Leonardo flicking it onto Pedri, who absolutely mocks the back line. A great ball into the box, into Fati, who heads it into the bottom left corner. And that is, I think, one of the best games of football I have ever seen in an FM. And to be honest, the stats were fairly split. We dominated the XG. They had more of the ball. I don't really know what to say. That game was absolutely incredible. And their team, ridiculous. What a team that is. But, wow, absolutely mind-blown by that. Obviously, it wasn't only the only cup final we were in. We also look at this one against Real Sparlis in a 5-3 game. All the games had lots of goals. All the cup finals. I mean, what content this would have been. Imagine playing this live on stream. A 5-3 game. As it's going to be Hispalis actually going 1-0 up here as well. Inside of 17 minutes, it's going to be a great first touch. Ramsdale has to do better there, in my opinion. Still a good goal for him, though. Obviously, I would have classed this game as quite an easy final. Especially when you got players doing that. Balde wins it back into De Jong, and that is a great bit of... That is incredible play. Incredible play from the Barcelona side. Tying it up at 1-1. They're going to go again here, though, Real Hispalis. Into Asadi, over the top, into Broja. A great first touch, touches it down. Nothing Ramsdale can do there. Just great play from Real Hispalis. Do they go 3-1 up? That is the key question. I don't believe they do. Or possibly they do. Now, this is where they bottled it then. Because if they score here, which I believe they're going to, as it is going to be an absolute domination down that wing into Broja, they were 3-1 up. Now, at this point, you would like to think that would be their cup final. But one thing which I've taught this team to do is never to give up. As you see, potentially the weakest penalty you will ever see in the game. Shaldrup finishing off the penalty. A great pass there out wide into Gavi. So that tied it up at 2-2. We then go through into Xavi Simons, who is bald for some reason, who tucks it in to the bottom right corner, who makes it 3-2. And we didn't stop there. We had 2 more goals to come. Link up play to De Jong into Xavi Simons. A poor pass there, but he does recover it by winning it back. Plays it back inside into Dest, who takes a touch and hits it into the top right corner. And at this point, it was obviously 4-3. And this is where we decided to literally just tie the ribbon and send it in what is going to end up being a 5-3 victory. Shaldrup into Fernan Torres, into Xavi Simons. And this guy really turned up for the cup final. What a player. I believe he scored, was that 3 goals? 2 goals, but still a very good performance. Player of the match goes to Gavi, and fair play to Real Hispalis putting up a fight, because they are actually quite a decent side. But overall, a very impressive season. Again, a lot of green here, a lot of wins, a couple of bad results here, but against teams which arguably you could be losing against. This was a destruction. Not a good game there against Atletico Madrid. Real Hispalis actually beat us in a division there as well. Only picking up 1, 2, 4 losses the entire season. Not bad at all. And going into this 5th transfer window, we've got £116 million to spend in this 5th transfer window. And I think now we are literally just going to try and carry on the sort of mindset we've had the entire rebuild. Bring in young players, bring in some youth, try and possibly offload a couple more of these sort of freeload and bench warmers and see what team he can leave him with. This is the last season, so we're going to try and go out with a bang. So let's go into this 5th transfer window and hopefully improve the team. So the last transfer window is now here, and we have actually sold nobody. We have kept everybody at the club, and we have brought in 2 more players, that being Gvardiol from Borussia Dortmund, a very weird transfer, coming in for £61 million, and Paul Wanner coming in from Bayern for £40.5 million. A total spend of £102 million. The first player, we all know who he is, probably going to be going to Manchester City in real life. He's a very good centre-back option / left-back. He can play both very, very well. World-class already, or reputation worldwide. Elite centre-back, 25 years of age. Great potential. A fair bit of money to bring him into the club, and also on a fair bit of whack when it comes to the wage. But it's to be expected when you've got a player here that can literally do everything across that back line. In terms of the next player, it's going to be a player who I've always wanted to sign, but very rarely get the chance to. £40.5 million. And this player was brought in purely because he's versatile. He can play in midfield, he can play out on the right. He's got great attributes, only 21 years of age, and again fits into that bracket of Gavi's, Pedri's, Xavi Simons. We've now got 4 incredible talents and potentially the best young midfield in the world, I would argue, as we have now got literally a pool of some of the best youth players you can possibly get. And going over to the actual tactics page, we are going to be looking at the team, and I'm going to be doing something different. So I'm actually going to pick the team which I think is the best team in my opinion, and it might not necessarily get played because I let the assistant choose, but realistically I would probably go Ramsdale, Koundé, Gvardiol. I'd keep Araujo, Aarons. I'd possibly actually consider doing that and bringing in Antonio Silva. That's what I'd possibly consider doing. I'd keep De Jong realistically. Gavi has been playing really well on this right-hand side, so I'll keep him there. On the left, I would probably, from last season, actually play Schreuder up there. I'd keep Pedri, and I'll keep these 2 up top, which would leave us with a team of Ramsdale, Koundé, Araujo, Silva, Gvardiol, De Jong, Gavi, Schreuder, Pedri, Fati, Leonardo. And on the bench, we have got, the talent. We have got Penna, Aarons, Simons, Ademi, Garcia, Kesse, Abdi, Christiansen, Torres, Balde, Dest, Liel, Hudson-Odoi, Martial still here, and also, obviously, Vanna, who I will make sure gets on the bench. Not just literally left to rot there. We'll put him on the bench here for Abdi. We'll put him there. But realistically, this team we've left him with is absolutely flawless. They've got talent in all areas. Realistically, the only more sort of areas I'd probably try and strengthen is to possibly bring in a couple of younger centre-backs, or 1 more younger centre-back to strengthen. But everywhere else, we have recovered them really, really well. And yeah, I'm just excited to see how this last season goes. I really hope we leave it with a bit of a bang, win at least a treble, because I think we have built a really good team here, and I'd be ashamed to finish the last season by only winning sort of 1 trophy. We have finished the last season with a quadruple, and that is no more than what we can ask for, as we have won the Champions League against Liverpool, the Super Cup against Monaco, the Spanish First Division, and also the Spanish Cup against Real Madrid. We scored 135 league goals, conceded only 21, and picked up 0 red cards. We're not going to pay too much attention this season to the team stats, because we have got a lot of games I want to watch, because there's some quite good cup finals in this season, I would imagine. But in terms of the league table, 103 points. Real Madrid got nowhere near us again. In terms of the squad, we've got 47 for Ansu Fati, Leonardo with 37, 24 for Pedri, Vanna coming in with 23, 18 for Ademi, Araujo with 11, and 7 for Frankie de Jong. In terms of assists, we've got 27 for Gavi, Leonardo with 22. We've got Vanna coming in with 14, 13 for de Jong, Balde coming in with 11. With an injury, what's he got? Oh, not a nice one. We've also got 10 full coming in for Pedri, Schreuder coming in with 9, 8 for Torres, and Fati coming in with 8 as well. So a really good display from this team in the last season. I'm not going to lie though, realistically, a little bit of a drop off for the assists. We did have like 8 or 9 players with 10 or more, but we won a quadruple. I've got to be somewhat reasonable with that. If we were going to carry on this rebuild, we would have a staggering £145 million to spend. I would like to stress, though, you wouldn't need to spend a lot of this because the team we've left them with is absolutely incredible. But we are going to go ahead and look at some of these games then. So the first one is going to be a Champions League final against a Liverpool team, which has got some very interesting faces in. Brought in a lot of players by the looks of it. And obviously, this game did go all the way to extra time. So the question is, what was the score before it? It was, I believe, there's a couple of goals in extra time, but we do go 1-0 up inside of 31 minutes, right through the midfield. And it's unlucky there from, who is that? I can't click on him. I can't click on him. It's a good attempt from that defender anyway. But we do go 1-0 up, and Liverpool do bounce back. Sort of 20 minutes after the first half whistle goes, into Luis Diaz out on the left-hand side, back in the middle, into Ramos, who is one of their new signings, a very good signing, by the way. And that is going to be the equaliser for them. We then go again here with Max Aarons. This is going to be the first half of extra time, and it's going to be Max Aarons over the top into Ademi, who touches it down, squares it into Pedri, who you can see gets so aggressive in that shadow striker role. And that is going to be a 2-1 advantage, and we do actually seal off the game here in a very comfortable 3-1 win in the end, through to Pedri, into Ademi, who goes alone and tucks it past Alisson, and makes it look very, very easy, to be honest. But overall, it wasn't a completely easy final, as Liverpool did put up quite a good fight. Their team is really, really good. Obviously got Diamande in there now as well. They've got Caicedo, they've got Rafinha, Diaz, Nunes, Agate, Ramos, Olmo, Jack Grealish. They've got a really good team, to be fair to them. They're just not enough to beat this Barcelona team. Another cup final was a 3-0 win over Real Madrid against a very good Real Madrid side. Any new faces in there? I can't see any new faces, but realistically, this is a lot more comfortable than the previous final against them, as it is going to be Gavi over the top into Marcus Leonardo, who has not had a bad season since he has joined, and absolutely ruins that back line and thumps it into the bottom left-hand corner. And this game, clearly, all the action come very close together, as Gavi now plays the ball into the box, and a very, very good leaping header from Araujo, who has been very good from season 1 as well. Garcia now building up from the back, taking his time, no one putting any pressure on him, and he threads a wonderful ball through past Rudiger into Pedri to finish off a very comfortable 3-0 win in a game which realistically we dominated absolutely everything apart from the possession. And then I think if we can watch it, we're going to go ahead and watch this 5-0 win against Monaco in the Super Cup. Their team is looking very interesting. We have actually got Sevilla, Zuma, Sole, Diallo, Mende, Kante, Thuram, and Bolo, Golovin, Magno, Nori, Lafont, Enrique. Their team's actually really, really good, to be fair to them. So hats off to Monaco for putting together a very good team within 5 seasons. But unfortunately, can't really hack this Barcelona side, as we do also manage to win this cup final quite significantly, a 5-0 win. Guardiola, very, very direct approach, but it works, so we're not going to complain. And Leonardo tucks away a very easy first goal inside of 7 minutes. Gavi now goes alone, drives through the midfield, slightly out towards the right though, into Leonardo, who instantly finds his striker partner into Ansu Fati. A little bit of a luck as it sort of finds its way through the entire back line, and Fati makes it 2-0 inside of the first half. 3 more goals come, though, from the sort of 70th minute onwards. A set piece there coming in from Antonio Silva, and another set piece coming here from Gavi, who finds... Oh, that's a clearance, actually. He wins the flick on, though, again, Gavi, into... Who actually finishes this then? Frankie de Jong. Yeah. They're the goals I like. The first times on the edge of the box into the top right corner. You can't not like their finishes. As it is now going to be Max Aarons, who is going to be the creator of the last goal. He isn't. He is going to be Vanna, who tucks away on his debut season. This would have been a very, very early game for him. Obviously, this game occurred right at the start of the season, practically right at the start. Yeah, literally the 4th game. So that would have been a big moment for him in his career. And like I said, we have literally left this club with such a good team. We really have, and we are going to go ahead and have a little look at the history. So if we go to competitions, we go to landmarks, and then we go to competitions, we can actually see right now what we have done. So 2023 season, Super Cup runners-up, Champions League winners, Spanish First Division winners, Spanish Cup winners. 2024, we were the runners-up in the Spanish Super Cup, Spanish Cup winners, Spanish First Division winners, Spanish Super Cup winners, Spanish Cup winners, Spanish First Division champions in 2025. A lot of champions coming in. 2026, we won 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, absolutely incredible. And obviously in the last season, also putting on quite a good display as well. So we have done a lot for this Barcelona team. You can see some of the history there. They've never been short of trophies, and I think over the time we've had at the club, they're not going to complain what we've done for them either, realistically. I mean, we have left them in a very good place as a club, a very good team, and hopefully they can carry on with their success. But if you have enjoyed today's rebuild, please do leave a like on the video, and please do consider subscribing if you wish to see more rebuilds and tactics on this channel. And yeah, also leave some comments below on any teams you want to see rebuilt or tactics you want to see made. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.